All right, been a while. I was on vacation, but here we go. So, doing a video here, July 23rd. It's Thursday, and just want to go over a bunch of movement that's been happening. So, starting with the S&P 500, on the daily, we are still just ranging. Um, so, I just want to be super clear. Can't take too much too seriously right now because we are in this range and we haven't broken out the high or the low. In fact, we just kind of keep consolidating flat. On the 240, we are starting to see some movement. We saw a pretty big move down, a flag kind of retracement, continuation, and then boom, down today. So 4 hour is certainly bearish. Really no question about that. Uh, Look at this down move here. On the 60-minute, again, still very bearish. We did have the change of structure happen up here. We had the higher high that broke the previous high, low down here, and this candle right here closed and made the change of character. That did happen at 5 a.m. my time, so wasn't awake to see it. From there, we rapidly continued down and kind of trying to figure out how I play this because the U.S. session, the move already had happened. So that now I'm just looking, given that the 240 is in such a uh, bearish structure, 60-minute is clearly bearish. I'm just waiting for pullbacks to go short again. I could start saying that this is a double bottom on the hourly, but I don't want to get too cute and play the pullback. I'll let the market tell me what it thinks. If we do break out of this and we come back and we have a clean reentry, I might just to get back into this zone, but it would be a pretty tight one. What I have on here is just the last support resistance zone and the fibs to see if we get back in here. Definitely my areas of interest on the hourly. Over in the euro, some big movements here, but we're still in this range on the 4 hour. And since we're so close to this range, I'm going to kind of just stop and watch and see what happens. If do we break through it or do we come back up into this range? I don't know. You can see on the daily, we've just been scalping here on this continuation flag. We technically, you could say broke out of it today, but I'm really not comfortable going short until we have a clean breakout of this low and a retracement. So that's what I'm watching on, but maybe it will finally, something will shake here. It's been almost a month. Let's move over into gold. So gold is one I'm watching a lot right now. So on the daily, we are still bearish, but we've had this double bottom neckline break here. We came back into it. We had the buy flag. We popped up. So we're definitely forming a base right down here, and it's really important to know. On the 240, for what it's worth, we did break through that big trend line and shot up like a rocket right up here. But now we're clearly correcting, but I still have us as bullish on the 4 hour. And what I've drawn here is the fib of the daily, which I just marked, which is basically from that low of this candle wick here. And then the fib of the 4 hour, which is here, but we're in the fib of the 4 hour zone. On the 60-minute, that's only a one candle pullback, so I don't want to count it. But we're sort of just milling around right now. I'm static, and it's not clean enough for me to want to get in any which way right now. But we have certainly a bearish structure on the hourly here. And why I'm a little, or not frustrated, but just kind of kicking myself is I saw this head and shoulder on the 15-minute last night. And what was impressive about it to me too was that the neckline was also the hourly change of character. So we had this higher high here, this was the low, and this bar here that broke it, or on the 15-minute, this one here changed the character. Not only did it break the neckline of the head and shoulders, but it changed the character on the hourly. And it happened at 12:15 a.m. my time, so midnight. And I was asleep, and I'm finding it challenging to wonder what time zones to trade. And London seems to be the best. I just don't have a lifestyle where I can stay up all night, literally from midnight to whatever, 8 a.m. And so I'm trying to figure that out. But as of right now, we may be turning around and going back bullish. We may break through, no idea, but we are bullish on the 4 hour. We are bearish on the 60-minute here. And on the 15, I'm not really getting much clear signal here. So I'm just going to kind of wait and see how we react tomorrow and probably let the weekend come in and then see where we go. But yeah, this was a mistrade, but I think lessons are, it happened in the first hour of the London session. So maybe my rules are if I see this setting up like this, I stay up late till like 1 in the morning, see if it breaks. Anything past that, don't. And I think just for confidence, this was a great trade that would have made a lot of money. So on the pound yen, it's an interesting one because on the weekly and daily, I'm nervous to go long just because we're in this rising wedge. Oops. I do here. I don't think I even need to throw the RSI on just because I know it'll show divergence, but let's just look at it for fun. Well, I mean, this high is not above it, but it's also not way lower. So I guess that's one thing on the weekly. So on the daily, we are clearly bullish. We've been really going through higher high, higher lows, and we're really making a flag correct retracement back in. We're kind of retracing flat here. So, you can mark this as the low, but it's real tight on whether or not this even initial low got closed on. In fact, I'd argue it didn't, if not by like a pip. So I have my low here, and we're just bopping around. Last high is here. Oops. So, but this is actually, no, it's not. What am I talking about? That never broke through a low, and this low never broke through a high. So that's why I have it drawn the way I do, because I know market structure, even though I'm doing it wrong live. So, we did tap into, and we're bumping up against this last resistance zone here. And I do have the fibs. It's kind of the lower end, a little bit of a overlap of the resistance zone, but sort of waiting to see, should we break out? Do I go bullish? 60-minute, here's sort of the last structure that broke down to new lows. This low never actually broke to a high, so I think we're here. And since this one never broke, yeah. So, no, what am I talking about? I had it right. So, really hurrying up and wait and see what happens here, not making any big moves. I did make a trade on the 15-minute this week that when I look back on, I don't really know what I was thinking. So well, no, actually I do. So we had this double bottom here, and we had a neckline breakout, and we came back down. And on the 60-minute, this was like right in here. So we had this huge move down. We'd come back up into a retrace. We're down, but we're right back towards this resistance zone here. And we formed a double bottom, and we had a huge breakout, and then we retraced in. So this is the zone I'm looking at. And on this 15-minute, right here, we had a market structure shift. Right, so on the 15, we were bearish, came up, didn't break, came down, boom, closed above. Right, and this close above this high here is very slight, very, very slight, probably hard to even see, but we did close, just put a line in here. This candle closed above this line. So I got in because we had a double bottom, we had a neckline break, and then we had a change of structure on the 15-minute. On the 60-minute, or on the 240, we are bullish structured, and this all happened right around a resistance zone. So this was a good trade. I'm not mad at it. But clearly it just, I got in and it went down. Let me zoom back in here. And so I will say stop placement. Who knows what would have happened, but I remember putting my stop right here. Actually, this is a great lesson. It's a great lesson. I should have warmed up for this better before this video. So I was looking at this as this was the last low. Put this in here, right around here. And so a break below this tells me that I'm wrong and I need to get out on the 15. Had I had put it below this kind of turning point, which now that I look at it, was the deeper low. I got my market structure wrong. Look at this. Had I put it below here, which was the deeper low that actually pushed us above, I would have gotten all the way up to here, which targeting wise was right at, in this zone of the highs here. And I believe would have given me 1.5 plus R. Yeah, call 1.7, 1.6. So if I got a 1.5 right up in here, that would have worked. However, if I didn't get out there, crashing down, smashed out. But I think the real lesson here is that this was a good play. You have to put your stop below the low that would invalidate it. This low I was anchoring on was wrong because it wasn't, the push up here was the deeper one than this one here, right? So this was the right one. And had I put it there, yeah, I could have, it would have been sketchy. Whew, but I would have at least had a couple chances to get out at 1, and if not, put out a 1.5 there and gotten out. So it's actually probably the best lesson to learn so far is just, I think part of my problem is I'm looking at my phone a lot. And I need to stop thinking I can look at these charts like this on the big monitor and then go to my phone and, translate it. I need to be in front of the screen more. So, all right. Lastly, let's go into oil. So oil I've been kind of avoiding just because it's so macro news driven with all the geopolitical stuff right now, but we are just on a clear tear back up. We're above 90. The 240 has just been on a rip, and we're in a clear bullish structure now. And so, I don't know where this stops, where it goes, all that. I don't know why I'm so afraid to trade this. I kind of saw it back in here. I think I could look back at some of the videos and said I didn't want to do it, but structure, just let structure tell you what to do, right? Listen to the market. But right now, so on the hourly, we have the same low, or this is the low of the 4 hour. Here's our low of the 1 hour. So it's close to each other. Some pretty key places to look. Let me just put this back in. Okay. And so these are one candle pulls, so I don't count them, but here we go. So we'll see if we break to a new high, our new low will be up here. But right now we are retractive and on the 15-minute there. So on the hourly, let's put our fibbies in, see what we got. So I'll go from the hour. But yeah, if we get back into this zone, which was also support resistance zone, I'll be looking. That's a good area of interest to see. But then again, it may not even get back here. We'll see what happens. So to recap, oh no, I have Bitcoin to talk about too. So Bitcoin has been in this severe downtrend, the daily, and right now we are still on a downtrend and we're tracing back in deeply. So this line here, I don't know why I had that one. This line here is our high, and here is our low because we never broke that high. And so we're just in this absolute range right now. But we're getting to the top of the range. I saw a long because on the 4 hour, I considered us in a bullish trend from low and high, right? We had this higher high, we came down, retraced, and then we broke through it. So bullish market structure, no doubt about that. On the 60-minute, I had us, let me put these back in for what it was. I had us here, which is correct, and I had us here, which is correct. And on the, boom. So yeah, so it was right in here. Whoops, I did my fibs wrong. Um, so right in this fib zone, we had a double bottom, I believe, on the 15-minute, and I took it. And I put the stop below it, and it was just undecisive and then came crashing through. But it's hard to get mad at this one. This was both on the fib zone, it was on a resistance zone. The 240 was in an uptrend. 60-minute was in an uptrend. We had some legs of reversal on the 15-minute. Let's go find it. Here it is right here. Yep. So this is that zone here. And I put my long, I remember I was actually getting to be at the computer because it was like 9:45 my time. And here was the double bottom I saw, 1, 2. And I put this as the highest part of the neckline, and I got in, and with the stop below here. And then what ended up happening, tink, nope, not yet. And then boom, closed out. So I'm not going to apologize for this trade though. This was a good trade. Just happened to lose. We were in an uptrend. We were in an area of interest. We formed a double bottom. We broke and closed above the neckline. So we're not done pulling back though. In fact, right now it's kind of getting interesting. Is on the 4-hour we are back to the fib zone and some major resistance. So and clearly this nice candle here, but I'm not doing much. Let's wait and see what happens. And I want to just watch. If we come down here and form this double bottom, this becomes a neckline. I'm certainly going to go long again because even though I took a loss longing up here, that was a good trade. Take a loss, long here, fine. But the market structure is telling me we're still bullish on the 240, 60. So going to wait and see how that plays out. So recap. Bitcoin, losing trade, good trade. Pound yen, losing trade, good trade. Gold, recognized a winning trade, was unable to take because I was asleep, but would have been a great one. And looking at some Euro breaks and some S&P 500 breaks. And all in all, I feel like I'm getting close. Mentally, I gotta be honest, I'm feeling like I'm not quite there yet, closer and closer every day, iterative improvement, but it's still like just slogging. But that's the game, right? So almost at 20 minutes here. I'm going to wrap it. There's my journal for kind of today and the week. It's a long one because I haven't been journaling, but going to get back in the daily habit.